The story begins by introducing Claude Sirius, one of the 10 first-class magicians in the world. His magic is said to be powerful enough to move the stars, and at just 17 years old, he became the youngest professor at the Royal Magic Academy. Despite his fame and achievements, he suddenly disappeared without a trace. The story then shifts to Spica Virgo, a girl who dreams of becoming a magician. She's seen attempting to fly using magic from the top of a cliff while her friend Aria watches. Despite confidently casting a spell, she fails and crashes to the ground. Even after such a fall, she refuses to give up and declares that she will become a magician and enter the prestigious Royal Diana Academy, just like Claude. However, Aria points out that Spica cannot even use basic magic and warns her that she will fail at this rate. She suggests hiring a tutor, but Spica explains that she has no money and must learn on her own. Although Aria offers to help, Spica decides to continue training independently. Later, she fails once again while practicing, breaking her staff and feeling frustrated about her lack of progress. While thinking about her situation, Spica suddenly hears a voice and discovers a black cat speaking to her. The cat reveals that he was once a human magician but was cursed into this form. Without hesitation, Spica begs him to teach her magic. At first, he refuses, but after hearing that she's willing to do anything, he agrees and takes her to the capital. Instead of training her properly, the cat behaves selfishly and wastes time. Eventually, he gives her a task to find the legendary grimoire called the Book of Providence in the Royal Library within 1 month. The book is said to grant complete knowledge. Despite the difficulty, Spica accepts and begins searching. During her time in the library, she struggles with dangerous grimoires but never gives up. As time passes, she starts studying ancient runes, believing the legendary book might be written in an old language. This surprises the cat, as he realizes she's more determined than he expected. When the time limit ends, the cat tells her to quit, but Spica refuses and reveals her true motivation. She shares how Claude once saved her during a deadly attack and inspired her to become strong enough to protect others. Although the cat dismisses her ideals, he begins to understand her determination. At that moment, Spica discovers hidden runes that open a secret passage. Inside, they find the Book of Providence, which reveals that the cat is under a karmic curse. The only way to break it is through Spica's own hidden restoration magic. Before they can act, a powerful beast attacks the library. As they try to escape, the cat suggests breaking the curse so he can regain his full power. However, Spica hesitates due to the strange method required. Disappointed, the cat gives up on her and walks away. But when she is about to be killed, he returns to protect her. Seeing this, Spica regains her resolve and decides to act. She uses her power and successfully breaks the curse, turning the cat back into his human form, revealing that he is actually Claude Sirius. With his power restored, Claude easily defeats the beast. However, shortly after, the curse returns because Spica's magic is not strong enough yet. The Book of Providence explains that for the curse to fully break, both of them must reach the same level. Realizing this, Claude decides to train Spica himself and tells her to call him Professor. Now, with her idol as her teacher, Spica's journey to becoming a first-class magician truly begins. That was episode 1. Spica wakes up from a nightmare where she was about to do something extremely embarrassing to Claude again. Before she can recover, Claude shows up at her window yelling at her to wake up. Soon after, her magic training begins. Claude explains that the most important thing in magic is affinity, the type of magic a person is born with. Since Spica is a Virgo, she has plant-based magic, meaning she can grow and control vegetation. She gets excited but asks about a rare rebirth magic. Claude immediately shuts that idea down and warns her not to talk about it. They begin practicing, and Claude teaches her the basics: focus, chant, and imagination. Spica manages to grow a seedling for the first time, but Claude doesn't praise her and says this is only the beginning. On top of that, she can't control her magic properly, and the plants end up going wild. Seeing this, Claude gives her a different training method. For the next 6 months, she'll use magic to handle all the farm work. Since her family is struggling financially, she agrees. At first, she struggles, but because she understands farming well, she can clearly imagine the results. Slowly, her control and strength improve. After half a year, Spica becomes much better at using her magic. However, she starts worrying if farming alone was enough to pass the entrance exam. Claude doesn't give her any reassurance, making her even more nervous. On the day of the exam, the applicants travel together, but suddenly, a golem attacks them in the mountains. Chaos breaks out, and Arya steps in using powerful water magic to fight it. However, the golem keeps regenerating. Spica remembers that golems have a core. If destroyed, the golem will stop. At first, she hesitates, but Claude pushes her to act. Gathering her courage, Spica joins the fight. She uses her plant magic to restrain the golem and create an opening while Arya supports her. At the right moment, Spica strikes the core and successfully destroys the golem. Right after that, the vice principal appears and reveals that this was actually part of the entrance exam. They were testing how the students react under pressure. Because of their teamwork, courage, and quick thinking, both Spica and Arya pass. Spica is shocked, but happy. Claude tells her that this is just the beginning, but he finally gives her a small bit of praise, which makes her genuinely happy. That was episode 2. Later, we see the Witch Hat World Tree, a massive 1,000-year-old landmark in the Aradia Kingdom. Inside it lies the Royal Diana Academy of Magic, a prestigious school founded by the witch Selene, with over 600 students. Spica finally arrives at the academy and is amazed by its beauty and elegance. However, Claude quickly stops her excitement and reminds her to stay low-key and not reveal that she is his student. He tells her they must work together to make her a first-class magician. Before explaining more, the principal, Jean, appears and asks Claude to wait in her office until the covens are announced. Left alone, Spica meets Io Taurus, a friendly student who explains that a coven is a group of 12 students and one teacher who live and study together for 3 years. Soon, Spica witnesses a fight between several students, including Libra and Castor. The situation turns chaotic until Claude arrives and stops them. Then, he announces that all of them will be part of his coven. Spica is shocked, realizing she will spend 3 years with these troublesome classmates. Later, the principal gives Claude a condition. He must guide all his students to graduation or he will be dismissed. The next day, Spica begins classes but struggles to keep up, especially compared to the other talented students. In practical training, they're asked to capture magical creatures called Lowthorns. While others succeed, Spica fails completely and ranks last. Claude warns her that she is falling behind and gives her extra training. Feeling discouraged, Spica worries about being expelled. That night, Claude takes her to an observatory and shows her the stars. He explains how the star Spica is actually 2 stars working together, producing great power. This helps motivate her again. However, Claude immediately pushes her into strict practice, telling her she must capture 12 Lowthorns before she can go home. At the academy, where Claude meets the headmistress, he describes his students as kind and hardworking, but she quickly corrects him, listing all their problems. Each student has serious issues, and their group is even called Pandora's Box. She then warns him about Castor, a troublemaker who skips class and may get expelled. Since Claude will also be expelled if even one student fails, he decides to bring Castor back no matter what. Claude, along with Spica and Io, finds Castor in the middle of a fight. Claude tries to reason with him and promises to support him as his teacher, but Castor refuses and mocks him. Eventually, with Io forcing him, Castor agrees to attend class. Later, during a field lesson to collect mandrake herbs, the students split into groups. While searching, Castor shows a slightly kinder side, helping Spica quietly. However, when Claude tries to get closer to him, Castor becomes hostile again and reveals the reason for his hatred. He accuses Claude of abandoning his students during a past attack. Suddenly, an accident causes Castor to fall into a river, and when they find him, he has transformed into a girl named Pollux. It is revealed that Castor and Pollux are twins sharing one body, switching depending on who touches them. Pollux is calmer and highly skilled with magic, even managing to trick Claude with her abilities. As tension rises, Pollux also confronts Claude about abandoning them in the past. Claude admits it's true, but refuses to explain why. Before the situation could settle, Spica and Io are lured into a trap by strange bait, where they are attacked by dangerous magical insects. Pollux steps in to protect them and fights bravely, but the enemies keep increasing. Just as things get critical, Claude arrives and saves everyone using powerful magic, defeating all the creatures at once. After the battle, Claude sincerely apologizes for his past actions and promises to protect his students this time. Although Pollux still cannot fully forgive him, she acknowledges his actions and decides to attend class to understand him better. Then it is revealed that the insect attack was not natural. A mysterious group is behind it, and their real target is Spica because of her rare magic. A few days later, Claude gathers his students in the kitchen to make potions using the herbs they collected, hoping to increase their magic power. Spica is happy to see that Castor has finally started attending class. Meanwhile, Libra annoys Castor by asking him to transform into his sister, making Castor ask Claude for permission to kill him. Claude casually tells him to do it outside school grounds instead. At the same time, Regulus drags in an entire boar for cooking, but Claude immediately rejects the idea as the class falls into complete chaos. Watching his strange students, Spica realizes it will take a long time before everyone starts getting along. Later, Spica continues her special training with Claude, but she still fails to catch even a single Lofren rabbit. She believes her Virgo magic simply isn't suited for the task and wishes she had Aria's powerful water magic instead. However, Claude explains that magic depends on the user, not the spell itself. He tells her that skilled magicians always find creative ways to use their abilities. Wanting to improve, Spica reluctantly decides to ask Aria for help, despite seeing her as a rival. Aria agrees to help, but only after teasing Spica and forcing her to beg for it with puppy eyes. Even though it's humiliating, Spica swallows her pride and does it anyway, surprising Aria with her determination. Later, while relaxing together in a bath, Aria explains how Aquarius magic works. She tells Spica that she carefully studies shapes and structures so she can recreate them perfectly with water magic. Spica is shocked to realize that Aria isn't just talented, but also works incredibly hard behind the scenes. Inspired by Aria's advice, Spica begins experimenting with new ways to use her Virgo magic. After days of training, the two finally hold a rabbit-catching competition in the forest. Aria easily catches multiple rabbits at once using giant water hands, while Spica invents a reckless human catapult technique that launches her body toward the rabbits instead. Although her method works, Aria still wins the contest with 20 rabbits compared to Spica's 10. Despite losing, Spica is happy with her progress, while Aria admits she enjoyed spending time together again. Unfortunately for Spica, losing means she has to spend an entire day as Aria's maid. Later, Claude searches for the perfect class representative. Since he doesn't know his students well enough, he decides to secretly observe them while stuck in his cat form. During his investigation, he runs into several students, including Maro, who dresses him in cute clothes, Hana, who accidentally covers him in a dangerous pheromone potion, and Capella, who ends up saving him from the students chasing after him. Impressed by her calm and responsible behavior, Claude decides that Capella is the perfect candidate to become class representative. The next day, Capella reluctantly accepts the role after throwing a small tantrum because she hates being called responsible. Soon after, Claude has the students practice combining their magic together before reminding them that their midterm exams are approaching. He explains that the test will take place inside a dangerous dungeon where they must rely entirely on their magic to survive. Before the exam, Claude tells Spica to rest instead of training, but she ends up overthinking everything he said and barely sleeps at all. The next morning, the students board an airship heading toward the dungeon. However, just as the trip begins, a terrifying griffin suddenly roars beside the airship, leaving everyone shocked. That was episode 5. Subscribe for more anime recaps like this one.